we have discussed that there are generally two patterns followed to classify the systems, and they are accommodated in different classes. And you know that classification is an academic exercise. It is essential for understanding the systems with some perspective, right? So a particular class is defined on the basis of something. So whatever is common, that becomes the class feature, what is called. Class ka character jo hota hai, that is something common, and any member of that class must share that feature. And there may be discussion on that, there may be debate on that, whether every system shares the features in the same spirit or there is some other problem. But that is all granted. We require classification. This is a kind of heuristic, what is called. This is a kind of methodology. We are so cognitively constituted, we are so cognitively evolved that we try to see the pattern in whatever we want to study or whatever we want to know. So we always look for a pattern. I was talking about the rationality behind classifying the content, and the rationality is to see a pattern so that we can have a better access, we can have better understanding. Two patterns we have seen, and both the patterns are with reference to the Vedic literature, right? The reference point of their classification is nothing but the Vedic literature. The Vedic literature is something which is foundational to the Indian culture. And if we want to understand the Indian culture, we have to take the Vedic literature seriously. Only then we can get into the mind of the people and see the ethos which prevails, the behavior of the people, and so on and so forth. With reference to the Vedic literature, the classification is carried out. Apart from the Vedic literature, there is something which is evolved from the Vedic literature, and they become direct source of the philosophical systems. So let us see what are those things. Largely, आपकी जो book है उसमें ये B वाला system ज़्यादा मिलेगा. ये जो A वाला system है, that is rare. B वाला system is much more popular, much more used in the textbook, and this classification is used, referred to by the people who want to have easy access to the Indian systems of philosophy. So whatever we have arranged, that is just to keep this popularity in mind. So consider the Nastika category first, where we find three systems of Indian philosophy accommodated: Charvaka, Buddhism, and Jainism. The Charvaka system of philosophy does not have any ancient classical text to which you can refer to and see what are the ideas of this system. In fact, whatever knowledge we gather for the Charvaka system is taken from different sources of other systems. The other systems talk about Charvaka and they refute the Charvaka viewpoint in order to establish their own viewpoint. So this way, we find the reference of the Charvaka viewpoint in the text of other systems. There is no text which is devoted to the Charvaka system from the classical India. Later, quite late, Jairasi Bhatta compiled all the ideas which are available in different texts of different traditions, and those ideas are attributed to Charvaka. So he compiled all such ideas. The compilation is given a title. This is the title of the book, Tattopaplava Simha. Tattopaplava Simha is the philosophical text which we use to understand the Charvaka system in one place. Otherwise, we can see the textbooks of all other systems of Indian philosophy. Every system of Indian philosophy targets the other systems for the refutation purpose, for the purpose of examination. So this is the way all the systems are developed. They are developed in complete dialogue. They first explain the opponent's position. So in all the philosophical texts, you find the Charvaka position is explained, and then that position is attacked, refuted. So a counter argument is given to refute the Charvaka position, and then the author proposes his own viewpoint, right? So this is the structure of debate we find in the systems of Indian philosophy. Every text, almost every text has got this structure. So from the references of these texts of other systems, we find the Charvaka position, and Jairasi Bhatta compiled all those positions and made a text which is given this title, Tattvapapalava Simha. Then the other Nastika system of Indian philosophy is Jainism. And the foundational text from which we draw or we learn the ideas of Jaina, it is called Agam Siddhanta, but Agam Siddhanta is not available in a separate text. What is available is the teachings of Lord Mahavira in Prakrit. महावीर स्वामी ने जो बातें कही वो प्राकृत भाषा में कही, अर्धमागधी में कही. अगर आप लोग ये एक्सप्रेशन जानते हो, अर्धमागधी और प्राकृत बहुत ही सिमिलर है, एक ही तरह का है, जैसे डोगरी और पंजाबी में सिमिलैरिटी है. महावीर स्वामी की जो बातें थी उसको कंपाइल किया गया. महावीर स्वामी कब थे? 6th century BCE, बिफोर कॉमन एरा और बिफोर क्रिश्चियन एरा. महात्मा बुद्ध और महावीर स्वामी लगभग एक ही साथ में थे, कंटेम्पररी थे, 6th century BCE में थे. बट दैट टाइम देयर वाज नो method of writing, etc. It was all oral. But later, in the 3rd century, in fact, BCE, during the time of Ashoka, अशोक के समय में जो उनका पीरियड था, मौर्य एम्पायर जो था, उस टाइम में महात्मा बुद्ध और महावीर स्वामी दोनों के विचारों को कंपाइल किया गया और उनको डॉक्यूमेंट किया गया. So Jainism has Anga Suttas and Upangas as their foundational texts. What are these Anga Suttas and Upangas? They are the compilation of the teachings of Lord Mahavir. And the whole teachings are compiled, and there are 12 Angas and also 12 Upangas. So it's a huge literature in Prakrit language available to us. So if we want to study Jainism seriously, we have to look into the Anga Suttas and Upangas, and then there are other texts which are developed on the basis of the ideas available in these basic texts. So Anga Suttas and Upangas are the foundational texts, and whatever is written after that, that is all based on the ideas available there. And then Jainism developed into two big schools, which you call Shwetambar Jainism and Digambar Jainism. श्वेतांबर जो जैन मुनि होते हैं वो सफेद कपड़ा पहनते हैं. आप देखिए उनका वस्त्र जो है श्वेत होता है. श्वेत माने white. So they wear white cloth and they cover their mouth with cloth. The way we are doing today, मास्क यूज कर रहे हैं. जैन मुनि तो पूरा उनका परंपरा ही है मास्क लगाने का है, और वो मास्क लगाने का जो पर्पज है वो अपने को मरने से बचाना नहीं है, जो आज कोरोना टाइम में हम देख रहे हैं. अपने को इन्फेक्शन से बचाना नहीं है. उनका पर्पज बहुत ही नोबल है. क्या है? अगर कोई जीव हमारे नाक में या मुंह में गया तो वो मर जाएगा, तो ये हिंसा हो जाएगी. तो वो हिंसा ना करे, इसके लिए वो नाक और मुंह को कवर करते हैं, श्वेतांबर जो जैन मुनि होते हैं। और जो दिगंबर जैन मुनि होते हैं वो नंगे रहते हैं बिल्कुल। आप लोगों ने देखा होगा एक तरुण सागर जी महाराज, जिनकी अभी पिछले साल डेथ हुई थी, वो बहुत ही इधर उधर आते जाते रहते थे और पैदल चलते थे। वो कभी किसी वाहन का उपयोग नहीं करते थे, सिर्फ वो पद यात्रा करते थे और नंगे रहते थे। तो वो ऐसे मुनि अभी भी आप देखेंगे, बहुत सारे मुनि जो हैं वो दिगंबर जैन है। दिगंबर मतलब जिनका कोई कपड़ा नहीं, दिक का मतलब आकाश होता है, आकाश ही जिनका वस्त्र है, तो आकाश तो कुछ होता नहीं है, राइट। सो दे आर नेकेड जैन मुनीज। तो श्वेतांबर और दिगंबर दोनों जो जैन संप्रदाय हैं उसके अलग अलग जो टेक्स्ट लिखे गए, बहुत सारे फिलोसॉफिकल व्यूज कॉमन हैं, क्योंकि दे ऑल आर टेकन फ्रॉम अंगस एंड उपांगस। बट जैसे आप जानते हैं ना, सिस्टम बनाने के लिए यू राइट डिफरेंट टेक्स्ट। तो श्वेतांबर जैनिज्म और दिगंबर जैनिज्म ने एक बॉडी ऑफ लिटरेचर प्रोड्यूस किया, उनके जो स्कॉलर्स थे, और उसके आधार पे हम उसको स्टडी करते हैं। नाउ द थर्ड सिस्टम ऑफ नास्तिका category is Buddhism, and the basic literature of Buddhism is called Tripitaka. त्रि का मतलब तीन होता है, पिटक का मतलब बास्केट होता है। त्रिपिटका, थ्री बास्केट। द होल ऑफ पाली बुद्धिस्ट लिटरेचर, जैसे जैन में प्राकृत भाषा, अंग और उपांग जो है प्राकृत भाषा में लिखा गया, बुद्धिज्म में त्रिपिटक लिखे गए। तो आप घर में बास्केट यूज करते हो ना, उसमें बड़े सारे सामान रखते हो, तो इनके पूरे लिटरेचर का नाम ही ऐसे किया कि ये त्रिपिटक है, मतलब दे आर कलेक्शन ऑफ टेक्स्ट बुक्स एंड दे आर put in a basket, as if basket is to classify, right? तो एक बास्केट में कुछ रखा, दूसरे में कुछ रखा, तीसरे में कुछ रखा। So these three pitakas are named like this. Sutta Pitaka. Sutta Pitaka is the compilation of all the basic principles, the basic philosophical viewpoints, and they all are the words of the Buddha. So the Buddha traveled extensively and delivered many talks in different places. So all the principles or norms or basic ideas are compiled, and they are given this title Sutta Pitaka. And this is a huge body of literature. All the ideas are compiled in 5 textbooks, and they are called Digha Nikaya, Majjhima Nikaya, Samyukta Nikaya, Anguttara Nikaya, and Khuddaka Nikaya. These are the 5 Nikayas. Nikaya means body, and this body matlab ek class, right? Digha Nikaya means long discourse. दीर्घ का मतलब दीर्घ, दीर्घ संस्कृत या हिंदी का दीर्घ जो है पाली में दीर्घ हो जाता है, उसमें जो हाफ लेटर्स होते हैं उनके साथ बड़ा लोप होता है। सो दीर्घ निकाय जो है वही दीर्घ निकाय टर्म यूज किया गया। मध्यम मतलब मिडिल, जो ना बहुत बड़ा है ना बहुत छोटा है। एंड संयुक्त मीन्स कंबाइंड, उसमें बड़े भी हैं छोटे स्टोरीज हैं, एंड दे ऑल आर इन द फॉर्म ऑफ स्टोरीज। सो प्रिंसिपल्स आर एन्यूमरेटेड, प्रिंसिपल्स आर डॉक्यूमेंटेड, एंड दे आर क्लासिफाइड in the Sutta Pitak literature. So Sutta Pitak is one basket, and where you have all these texts, and each text has got huge volume in fact. So this is first Pitaka in the Pali Buddhist literature. Then the second Pitaka is called Vinaya Pitaka. Vinaya Pitaka is a compilation of all the rules and regulations which are supposed to be followed by the monks, nuns, and the common people, right? So they are in some sense the codes of conduct. How are you going to behave in a monastery? How are you going to observe certain rules when you interact with the laity, कॉमन लोगों के साथ जब आपके संवाद होंगे तो वहां आप कैसे क्या क्या आपको सावधानियां रखनी हैं. तो codes of conduct are compiled in the Vinay Pitaka, right? So Sutta Pitaka is the principal and basic ideas, philosophical viewpoints. Vinay Pitaka is the code of conduct, the rules, the regulations, the laws which are to be followed in the monastery. अब monastery में आपको खाना कब खाना है, खाने में क्या खाना है, कितनी बार खाना है, कब सोना है, ठीक है. जो भिक्षु हैं और भिक्षुणी हैं उनके बीच किस समय में संवाद हो सकता है, किस समय में वो नहीं मिल सकते हैं, ठीक है. बहुत इलेबोरेट जो हम रोज जिस तरह से बिहेव करते हैं उसके बारे में बहुत ही एक्सटेंसिव रेगुलेशंस दिए गए, so that the monastery life is organized and nobody is confused about how to do things in a monastery. And when you go out of monastery, how are you going to interact with the common people? For that also you have extensive rules, and they all are combined into the text called Vinay Pitaka. So here you have three major subclasses. Sutta Vibhanga. Sutta Vibhanga is clearly body of rules which are provided for the monks as well as nuns. So the body of rules which are applicable to the behavior of monks, भिक्षु जो थे, जो पुरुष बौद्ध थे, उनका जो रूल ऑफ कंडक्ट था वो महाविभंग नाम से जाना जाता है. महाविभंग is the Sutta Vibhanga meant for the monks, and Bhikkhuni Vibhanga is the rules and regulations which are applicable to the Bhikkhuni. उनको भिक्षुणी कहते हैं, भिक्षुणी, भिक्षु और भिक्षुणी. These are the expressions for the monks and nuns. जैसे आप स्कूलों में रूल बनाते हैं तो मैनेज करने के लिए, उस तरह से मोनेस्ट्री को मैनेज करने के लिए रूल बनाए गए. Khandaka and Parivar, these two, Sutta Vibhang, Khandak and Parivar, these are three major classes within the Vinay Pitaka. So Khandak is basically a kind of elaboration of the rules and regulations in the form of stories. And remember, all these Pali literature, they are all narrations. Beautiful stories are there. So they all are instantiated part-wise. So Khandaka is basically a topic-wise classification of, again, rules and regulations, right? जैसे महाविभंग और भिक्षुणी विभंग जो है वो जेंडर वाइज है या सेक्स वाइज बेसिकली कह लीजिए, नॉट टू से जेंडर, सेक्स वाइज डिफरेंशिएशन किया गया. खंडक इज टॉपिक वाइज क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ द कोड्स ऑफ कंडक्ट. एंड सिमिलरली परिवार इज a body of literature where you have the rules and regulations written in a order. That order is number wise. तो एक चीज क्या किसको करना है, दो चीजें क्या क्या करना है, तीन चीजें क्या क्या करना है, इस तरह से उन्होंने अरेंज किया. दैट इज परिवार, राइट? सो there is a lot more overlapping also you will find in this literature, but the purpose was to clearly state how we are going to conduct and what are the rules we need to follow. So that is Sutta Pitaka and Vinay Pitaka. Now the last Pitaka is called Abhidhamma Pitaka. Abhidhamma Pitaka is basically a philosophical body of literature of Pali Buddhism. Abhidhamma Pitaka includes the philosophical ideas in the form of stories, in the form of different verses, right? And here in this, you find different sets in fact, but the popular set I have written here: Dhamma Sangini, Vibhanga, Dhatu Katha, Puggalapannati, Kathavathu, Yamak, Patthana. So Abhidhamma Pitaka contains these 7 books, right? So in this basket, you have these 7 books. So if you look at Dhatu Katha and Kathavathu, they are very nice stories, the way you have in the Puranas. The Puranas are very beautiful stories, and they are meant for communicating the philosophical and behavioral masses to the people, ethical masses to the people in a very good way. So Dhatu Katha, Kathavattu, Puggal Pannati is the classification of all kinds of persons. इस पूरे दुनिया में कितने तरह के लोग हो सकते हैं, उनका जो साइकोलॉजिकल स्टेट है उसका क्लासिफिकेशन है, right? So this way you have all these 7 texts which are accommodated in the Abhidhamma Pitaka, and their subject area is different, and they are very nice classifications of the philosophical ideas which are propounded by the Buddha. So this way you have 3 basic bodies of the text which are foundational to Buddhism, and they are written in Pali. And when Buddhism grew out of its initial stages, then you find a lot more divisions within the Buddhist tradition, and then the literature which is developed to give some kind of identity to a particular school, that becomes a later job, but I am pointing out something which is basic to all the sects of Buddhism. Now, we have seen Charvaka, Jainism and Buddhism and their basic texts, and that is in the Nastika category. Now, if you look at the remaining part, that is Astika schools of Indian philosophy, so you find again a kind of enumeration this way. So these systems, Nyaya system, Vaisheshika system, Sankhya system, Yoga system, Mimamsa system, Vedanta system, Shaivism, Shaktism, Tantrism, etc. And there are many isms, but for the purpose of our study, we have taken only limited things. The Nyaya system of Indian philosophy, which is an Astika system, right? Why they are called Astika? Because they accept the authority of the Veda as the final arbiter. मतलब dispute जब होगा तो वेद में जो लिखा गया है वो फाइनल जज होगा. उसके पहले अगर सेटल हो जाता है तर्क से, विमर्श से, डायलॉग से अगर सेटल हो जाता है तो ठीक है, नहीं सेटल हुआ तो फाइनल अथॉरिटी, जैसे भारत में सुप्रीम कोर्ट है ना, सर्वोच्च न्यायालय, तो लोअर कोर्ट में सेटल हो गया तो ठीक है, हाई कोर्ट में सेटल हो गया तो ठीक है, अगर नहीं सेटल हुआ तो सर्वोच्च न्यायालय, और सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के डिसीजन का अपील और कहीं नहीं जा सकता है, वहीं रहेगा. अगर अपील करना भी है तो सर्वोच्च न्यायालय में ही अपील आपको करना है, उससे ऊपर कुछ नहीं है जहां आप अपील करोगे. The Vedas are considered to be an authoritative text for the final thing, not for all these petty worldly matters. The Vedas are the authority for the final things, right? The ultimate objective of human life, what we are looking for in case any dispute. So how we go to the higher goal, the higher objective of our life, and if we are to dispute कि ये करना है कि नहीं करना है, तो तय कैसे करते हैं? अगर 2 बातों में विरोध हो रहा है, ये करें कि ये करें, तो उसको तय करने के लिए फिर क्या देखेंगे कि हमारा पर्पस क्या है, हम क्या पाना चाहते हैं ये करके. तो जब ये बात आती है कि हमारा पर्पस ये है, तो सेटल करना आसान हो जाता है कि हम इस पर्पस के लिए ये अपना एफर्ट कर रहे हैं, राइट? So same thing is here also. When there is dispute, there can be argumentation, counter argumentation. If it is not settled, then finally the Vedas are the authority. So for every Astika system of Indian philosophy, the Vedic literature is the ultimate authority. And whatever is there, that is final, right? And no dispute. So all those systems accept the Vedas as authority, and therefore they are called Astika systems of Indian philosophy. Charvaka, Jainism, and Buddhism do not accept the Vedas as authority for such kind of thing. They have their own mechanism, and they say that no, it is not necessary that whatever is there in the Veda, or whatever is there even in their literature, whatever body of literature they have produced, they say that the final arbiter is nothing but our experience. We will see all these debates in a very brief way when we come to the systems. So abhi aise dekh lijiye, the first system in the Astika category, we discuss the Nyaya system, and the foundational text of the Nyaya system is called Nyaya Sutra. Nyaya Sutra is the textbook which is foundational to the Nyaya philosophy. And this sutra is composed by Rishi Gautama, right? Rishi Gautama composed the basic principles of the Nyaya philosophy in a very cryptic form, in a very compressed, intensive form. Sutra, कहते नहीं, सूत्र है, बहुत छोटा formula है. All the Nyaya Sutra, in fact, the whole of Sutra literature is written in that style. छोटे छोटे वाक्य लिखे, छोटे छोटे वाक्य लिखे, और फिर गुरु और शिष्य बैठ के उस पर चर्चा करते थे, डिस्कशन करते थे. जैसे आत्मा को बताने के लिए वो क्या लिखेंगे, ज्ञानाधिकरण आत्मा. आत्मा जो है ज्ञान का अधिष्ठान है, उसका लोकस है. अब इस पे चर्चा करते रहेंगे आगे, हाँ किस तरह का अधिष्ठान है. So the Nyaya Sutra is the foundational text of the Nyaya philosophy, and it is composed by Rishi Gautama. And remember, if you look at the available historical account, so we find the whole of the sutra literature is developed from some time in 2nd century before the Common Era, and it continued up to 2nd century in the Common Era. So in almost 400 years period, we find the composition of the whole of these sutra literature. But remember, they are the compositions. The way you have the Jaina literature, the Buddhist literature composed during that period, same thing you find the composition of the basic texts of the Astika category. So that was a period of composition. It was not a period of introducing the ideas. The ideas were already there, right? We are a Sanatani. We belong to a very old tradition, old without any trace for the beginning of philosophy or philosophical ideas. The ideas were there from not so known time. You cannot point out that इस साल से न्याय फिलॉसफी शुरू हुआ या इस साल से वैशेषिक फिलॉसफी शुरू हुआ, ऐसा नहीं. वो सब आइडियाज थे. ये आइडियाज कहाँ थे? जो इमीडिएट रेफरेंस है वो वेदास. Even the Vedas which are available to us today, they are also composed during a certain period. And the ideas were composed in that period. They were not introduced in that period. In fact, the ideas were there from time immemorial. So same thing is here. The sutra literature is basically the condensed form of the ideas which are available in the Vedas. And certain ideas are emphasized, and therefore one body of sutra literature is developed, right? So Gautama emphasized certain thing and developed a body of sutra, Nyaya Sutra. The Nyaya philosophy is named after the sutra. It is called Nyaya Sutra. तो इसके बेस पे जो फिलॉसफी डेवलप हुई उसको हम न्याय फिलॉसफी कहने लगे, न्याय दर्शन कहने लगे. So Gautama composed Nyaya Sutra, and from then we find a systematic development of the Nyaya philosophy. And many commentators, Bhashyakar, Tikakar, Vrittikar, right? They all commented upon the Nyaya Sutra and produced a huge body of Sanskrit literature. And that is a very rich source of philosophical discourse today, unparalleled to any culture. There is no culture in the whole world which has this much richness, philosophical richness available in the Indian cultural tradition. Then the Vaisheshika system of philosophy is again based on what we call Vaisheshika Sutra, and these sutras are compiled by ऋषि कणाद. तो कणाद मुनि ने वैशेषिक सूत्र लिखा, कंपाइल किया, और वो फाउंडेशनल टेक्स्ट हो गया जिसको हम वैशेषिक दर्शन कहते हैं. And here you again find the commentaries written after Kanada, and we find huge body of literature produced, and these sutras are discussed, debated. So Vaisheshik Sutra is another wonderful compilation of the sutra, emphasizing certain ideas again from the Vedas and developing a unique style of discourse, unique proposal. Then we have another wonderful philosophical tradition called Sankhya philosophy, right? Sankhya Darshan. Sankhya Darshan is developed from the sutra compiled by Kapil Muni, and sutra is called Sankhya Sutra. 70 सूत्र हैं खाली, 70 only. And दो सूत्र कभी कभी dispute भी है, तो कुछ manuscript ऐसे हैं जहाँ 72 sutras are there. But then just 72 lines, they are commented upon, they are discussed, and a huge body of literature produced on that. So Kapil Muni compiled certain Vedic ideas into Sankhya Sutra and make out a coherent text, and that text is grown into a huge philosophical system called Sankhya philosophy. Then we find Yoga philosophy, Yoga Darshan. Yoga Sutra is the foundational text of the Yoga philosophy, and this sutra is composed by Muni Patanjali. And here you find again the emphasis on certain dimension of the Vedic literature, and that emphasis was translated in terms of the sutras, and these sutras are wonderful compilation, wonderful compression, the formulas which are foundational to the whole of yoga system developed on this ground. So Yoga Sutra is the basic text of the yoga philosophy. Then you find Mimamsa and Vedanta philosophy. The Mimamsa philosophy is developed on the basis of the Mimamsa Sutra, which are composed by Maharshi Jaimini. जैमिनी ऋषि का नाम आपने सुना होगा. तो जैमिनी जो है महर्षि वादरायण के शिष्य थे. महर्षि वादरायण जिन्होंने वेदांत सूत्र लिखा, ये तुरंत आप देखिए नीचे लिखा हुआ है. तो जैमिनी compiled, emphasized certain thing and composed Mimamsa Sutra, and the philosophy which is developed on the basis of that basic text is called Mimamsa philosophy. So this is another Astik Darshana of Indian tradition, and this Darshana has Mimamsa Sutra as its foundational text, and this sutra is composed by Maharshi Jaimini, and his guru Badarayan composed the basic text of the Vedanta philosophy, and the text is called Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta Sutra, and this is also called Brahma Sutra. Brahma Sutra is also another name of the Vedanta Sutra, and that is composed by Maharshi Vadarayan, व्यास मुनि, जिसको आप लोग जानते हैं ना, व्यास मुनि जिन्होंने महाभारत लिखा, उन्होंने वैदिक लिटरेचर का कंपाइलेशन किया, बहुत सारे पुराणों का कंपाइलेशन किया. व्यास मुनि इज अ great figure in Indian culture. He wrote Vedanta Sutra. He compressed the essence of the whole of Vedic literature into these sutras, and they are also called Brahma Sutra, as I said. And Badarayan was the teacher of Maharshi Jaimini. And they were in 3rd or 2nd century or 4th century BCE. That was the period normally we find. And there is something again very interesting to see that there is a huge amount of debate कि ये ऋषि लोग किस पीरियड में थे, कब थे, राइट? और बहुत ही जो कैजुअल हिस्ट्री हमारे दुनिया में लिखी जाती है उसमें इन लोगों को प्लेस किया गया इस तरह से कि ये 2000 साल पहले थे, 3000 साल पहले थे. बट इफ यू लुक एट द Indian cultural calculation of their period, so it goes back to more than sometimes million years back in fact. तो वो तो डिबेट की बात है, बट जो भी हमारा एविडेंस बेस्ड स्टडी है उसके बेस पे हम कहते हैं कि वो 3rd 4th सेंचुरी BCE में थे, बिफोर कॉमन एरा. तो ये वेदांत सूत्र और मीमांसा सूत्र और देखेंगे वो बहुत ही interestingly compatible systems हैं. So Mimamsa philosophy is developed on the basis of the Mimamsa Sutra, and the Vedanta philosophy is developed on the basis of the Vedanta Sutra और Brahma Sutra. And इसके बाद तो बहुत बड़ी कहानी है. इसके बेस पे जो आगे चीजें डेवलप हुई, तो वेदांत फिलॉसफी में अद्वैत वेदांत बना, विशिष्टाद्वैत वेदांत बना, शुद्धाद्वैत वेदांत बना, द्वैताद्वैत वेदांत, बहुत सारे वेदांत ट्रेडिशन डेवलप हुए. एंड रिमेंबर दे ऑल आर लिविंग ट्रेडिशंस. ये नहीं कि वो खत्म हो गया. we have ashramas across the Indian subcontinent where these philosophies are discussed and people are intensively engaged in developing the ideas, and they are living their life as per the philosophical viewpoints, right? So they all are living philosophies. They are not dead philosophies. वो सब जिंदा philosophy हैं. और हम सारे अपने घरों में देखें, we all are associated with this or that kind of philosophical system. You can dig out from your parents or from your guru that your family belongs to which or which your family follows which philosophical system. कौन सा सिस्टम फॉलो करता है, and you are living up to those things to the best of your ability, and much more is required, of course. I will close here with the remark about Shaivism. Shaivism, आप में से बहुत सारे लोगों को कश्मीर शैविज्म के बारे में आपने जरूर सुना होगा. कश्मीर शैविज्म, शैविज्म तो शैव सिद्धांत जो है, जो बेसिक टेक्स्ट है उस पर बेस्ड है, बट शैव सिद्धांतास आर नॉट अवेलेबल. सो इफ यू लुक एट कश्मीर शैविज्म पर्टिकुलरली, बाकी हम इंफॉर्मेशन आपको दे देंगे, is based on Shiv Sutras. Shiv Sutras are compiled by Vasugupta sometime in 8th century Common Era. ये 8th century जो हमारा है. So let us say some कितने साल पहले, ये हमारा 21st century चल रहा है. तो 8th century में वसुगुप्त को माना जाता है और उन्होंने भगवान शंकर की प्रेरणा से शिव सूत्र को कंपोज किया. रिमेंबर, उन्होंने लिखा नहीं. ऑल दीज सूत्रास आर कंपोज्ड, दे आर नॉट ऑथर्ड. व्हेन यू ऑथर समथिंग, you are bringing into being of that. कोई किताब लिखा तो you are bringing that book in the world. These sutras are not bringing the ideas into the world. Ideas were already there. They are just a kind of organization of those ideas. So Vasugupta, with the inspiration of Lord Shiva, composed Shiv Sutra, and that became foundational text to the huge body of literature developed by different seers of this land, Jammu Kashmir. और आप लोगों ने अभिनव गुप्त का नाम सुना होगा। अभिनव गुप्त उसी परंपरा में आते हैं, जो कश्मीर से परंपरा है। 1000 से 1200 कॉमन एरा में उनको माना जाता है। So almost 400 years after, let us say, Vasugupta. And then the 20th century wonderful philosopher लक्ष्मण जू महाराज का नाम सुना होगा आपने। लक्ष्मण जू महाराज उसी परंपरा में आते हैं और उन्होंने बहुत सारा इस पे किया। और ईश्वर आश्रम जो है, दैट इज द रिप्रेजेंटेटिव आश्रम ऑफ कश्मीर सेवा सिस्टम, बहुत सारा है। सो दीज ऑल आर लिविंग फिलोसफीज, दीज आर नॉट डेड फिलोसफीज। The responsibility of our young generation is to be familiar with all these and do whatever they want to do to preserve this system, and it is that which defines us as Indian. इससे अलग हम इंडियन हैं, वो आपको कोई भी कहीं भी उड़ा के ले जाएगा। अगर ये चीजें हट गई तो वो आपको इंडियन से कोई कुछ भी बना देगा। तो आप इंडियन हैं, इन सब चीजों की वजह से आप इंडियन हैं। बाकी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इज जस्ट ए स्मॉल थिंग इन द होल अफेयर्स।